Hi, fifth graders. Well, we're looking here. Find the volume of the rectangular prism. We are getting here now into chapter 13. We just have a couple of chapters left, chapters 13 and 14. And our first lesson here, chapter 13. Now, for teachers watching this, I have actually combined this lesson with lessons 13.2 and 13.3. I've combined those into one assignment, just kind of focusing on the core idea of how we find the volume of a rectangular prism. So on that note, I'm going to continue on. Now, finding the volume of the rectangular prism. A rectangular prism is essentially like this. It is a box, okay? And the idea with a rectangular prism that you should observe is that the top and the bottom are similar in area. The right and the left are the same in area, and the front and the back are the same in area. So the top and the bottom have congruent areas. The front and the back have the same area. The right and the left have the same area. Volume is how much you can fit inside of something. I often equate volume to like how much water you can fit into a swimming pool or something like that. That would be the volume, how much you can fit inside. And so when we're trying to find the volume of a rectangular prism like this, the formula that we use is V for volume equals L. L is length, how long it is, times W for width, how wide it is, usually by this number here, and then times its height, or how tall it is, this number here. Now we know that when we're multiplying numbers, as long as we multiply them correctly, it doesn't matter what order we put them in. The idea that 8 times 2 equals the same thing as 2 times 8. So when I want to find the volume of this rectangular prism, it doesn't matter what numbers I do first. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take 9 3/10, and I'm going to multiply that by 7 2/10. Now, you could have decimals, and so we're going to have to remember that rule when we come to it. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 9 is 18. Put the 0 down so everything lines up with my 7. 7 times 3 is 21. Put the 1 down, carry the 2. 7 times 9 is 63. Plus 2 is 65. I'm going to add these two numbers together. 6 and 0 is 6. 8 and 1 is 9. 1 and 5 is 6. Nothing and 6 is 6. I need to remember the rule. How many ever digits that come after the decimal in the problem, that's how many digits need to come after the decimal in the answer or the product. So my 3 and my 2 are both numbers that come after a decimal in the problem. So 1, 2, two numbers come after the decimal in my product. So that's those two. So that was my width and my height, but now I need to include my length, which was 8 meters. So I'm going to take the 66 and 96 hundredths. I'm going to multiply that by 8. 8 times 6 is 48. Put the 8 down, carry the 4. 8 times 9 is 72. Plus 4 is 76. Put the 6 down, carry the 7. 8 times 6 is 48. Plus 7 is 55. So I'm going to put the 5 down, carry the 5. 8 times 6 is 48. Plus 5 is 53. Once again, there are 1, 2 numbers that come after the decimal in the problem. So 1, 2 numbers after the decimal in my product. I get 535 and 68 hundredths. Now, volume we label as cubic meters. You'll remember area, we would put a 2 there to show the square units. Volume is cubic units, basically meaning that if I had perfect cubes that were, in this case, the unit is meters, so these cubes would be 1 meter long, 1 meter wide, 1 meter tall. It'd be a perfect cube like a Rubik's Cube. Inside of this rectangular prism here, I could fit 535.68 cubes that size. So not quite 536, but a little more than 535. I could fit cubes that size. Volume is always in cubic meters. Now, sometimes you're not actually going to get a picture. Sometimes it's just going to give you dimensions. Like it's going to tell you that the length is 5 1/3 feet, the width is 1 1/4 feet, the height is 2.5 feet. All right, and so you're just going to have to go and multiply them. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and do 5 1/3 times 1 1/4. And of course, I need to remember my rules of multiplying mixed numbers. First, turn everything into a fraction. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16, so that's going to be 16 over 3. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so that's going to be 5 over 4. I can cross-check a 4 and a 16 by dividing by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Nothing besides 1 can go into both 5 and 3, so I can't cross-check that. So I go ahead and multiply. 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 1 is 3. I get 20 over 3. I'm going to say that's in simplest form because nothing besides 1 can go into both 20 and 3. 3 can go into 20 6 times. If I take 3 into 20 6 times, 6 times 3 is 18. So that'd be 2 left over, with the difference of 18 and 20 being 2. My denominator here is 3. But then I need to go ahead and multiply that by 2.5. So I'm going to go 6 2/3, which is what I got as an answer here, times my height, which is 2.5. That's the number I haven't used yet. Everything needs to become a fraction. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 2 is 20. So that's going to become 20 over 3. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So it's going to become times 5 over 2. Now, as a 5th grader, you should acknowledge that 2 is an even number. This ends in 0, so that's an even number. So they're both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Okay. I can't cross-check a 3 and a 5. Nothing will go into it besides 1. 10 times 5 is 50. 3 times 1 is 3. Now I'm just left with coming down here and seeing how many times 3 can go into 50. Well, 3 can go into 5 once. 1 times 3 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. Bring the 0 down. 3 can go into 20 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Running out of room here, but I know that 20 minus 18 equals 2. There's nothing left to bring down, so my remainder is 2. So that tells me that 3 can go into 50 16 times. There are 2 left over. My denominator is 3 here. I'm dividing by 3, so it's 3 here. Nothing besides 1 can go into both 2 and 3. I end up with 16 2/3 cubic feet, because remember what we talked about in example 1 with the cubes. I can get 16 2/3 cubes that are 1 cubic foot in size into this rectangular prism. All right, now you'll also have some story problems that you'll deal with, and I'm not expecting much difficulty here. This first one's pretty straightforward. A rectangular prism is 4 feet tall, 17 miles long, and 12 miles wide. What is the volume? Well, volume, as we know, as we talked about, is length times width times height. So once again, it tells us how tall it is, how long it is, how wide it is, and it doesn't matter what order we multiply the numbers in because it's all just multiplication anyway. If we do it right, no matter what order or combination we use, we're going to get the same answer. So I always like to kind of start with the more difficult problem first. And so I'm looking here first, and I want to see, well, okay, I see something that I should be able to do pretty easily, 12 times 4. Well, I know that 12 times 4 is 48. If you know your 12 times tables, that helps. But 12 times 4 is not a hard problem. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. So like I said previously, 12 times 4 is 48. Well, then we're going to take the 48, and we've got to multiply that by the 17. So we're going to come up here, 48 times 17. 7 times 8 is 56. Put the 6 down, carry the 5. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 5 is 33. Put a 0 down so everything lines up with my 1. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. And then I go ahead and I can add these together. 6 and 0 is 6. 3 plus 8 is 11. Put the 1 down, carry the 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. Plus 4 is 8. I get 816 cubic miles as a volume. Now, this last one is something a little bit different, but let's look at it. It's not difficult. A container has exactly enough space to hold 7 packages of golf balls. Each package is 8 inches long, 6 inches wide, and 2 inches tall. What is the volume of the container? Okay, so here we have a container that has exactly enough space to hold 7 packages of golf balls. Then it gives us the dimensions of each package, which is 8 inches long, 6 inches wide, and 2 inches tall. So that tells me that first we're going to need to figure out the volume of each individual package. So if the package is 8 inches long, 6 inches wide, and 2 inches tall, I know that 8 times 6 is 48. Then I would have to do 48 times 2. So that's not real difficult. Come down here and do that. 2 times 8 is 16. Put the 6 down, carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. I get 96. So each golf ball package has a volume of 96 cubic inches. The container has exactly enough space to hold 7 packages of golf balls. So 7 that have a volume of 96 cubic inches. So that's going to involve me taking 96 and multiplying that by 7. Well, 7 times 6 is 42. Put the 2 down, carry the 4. 7 times 9 is 63. Plus the 4 is 67. That tells me the volume of the entire container is 672 cubic inches. All right, so that's lessons 13.1, point 2, and point 3, which, as we talked about, is going to be combined into one assignment. We'll talk to you later, 5th grade. Bye.